Edo, old Japan, where a wealthy silk merchant sat at the finest feast money could buy and tasted almost nothing. Musicians played for him. Servants brought dish after gleaming dish, and still a dull gray boredom sat heavy behind his eyes. He owned everything a man could point at and want, and somehow the wanting itself had quietly stopped working inside him. Each new pleasure thrilled him for a single breath, then flattened into the same gray nothing as the one before it. So he chased a larger thrill, and a louder one, certain that somewhere ahead a big enough pleasure still waited. High on a cold mountain, above that same restless city, lived a monk who owned almost nothing at all. One thin robe, one wooden bowl, one small hut, and a silence most of us today would find completely unbearable. And every morning, that monk ate a single bowl of plain rice, as though it were the greatest feast on earth. The merchant had everything and could feel nothing. The monk had nothing and could feel absolutely everything. The distance between those two men is the exact distance this video is going to quietly walk you back across. Because somewhere along the way, quietly and without ever once deciding to, you have started to live like that merchant. You reach for your phone before your eyes are even fully open, and the whole day begins already half numbed. There is a feed, a screen, a snack, a new tab, a small hit of something waiting everywhere you turn. And yet, the simple things that once pleased you, a book, a walk, a slow meal, have gone strangely flat. You are not sad exactly, and not quite bored, but a gray film has settled over everything you do. You feel scattered, restless, half here, forever reaching for the next thing before the last one has even landed. To understand what happened to you, you first have to understand one small, ancient chemical inside every human being. It is the quiet spark of wanting, the pull that once sent our ancestors out to hunt, gather, and build. It was never meant to reward you. It was meant to move you, to make you rise and go and seek. For all of human history, that spark was earned slowly, by effort, by patience, by the long walk to the thing. But the modern world learned to strike that spark 1,000 times a day, for free, with a flick of the thumb. Every scroll, every ping, every bite of sugar pulls the same lever the mountain once asked a whole day for. Think of your whole capacity for pleasure as a palate, a tongue trained over years to taste the world. A tongue raised on plain rice and clear water can taste 100 quiet notes inside a single grain. But pour fire and sugar over that tongue day after day, and it slowly forgets how to taste anything gentle. Now, the plain rice tastes like nothing, not because the rice has changed, but because the tongue was scorched dull. Your mind has a palate too, and yours has been scorched by a fire hose of the loudest pleasures ever invented. So, the quiet joys go tasteless, and you are left forever chasing something loud enough to finally register. There is a second way to see it. And it happens every single night without your ever noticing at all. Stand in a blazing bright room, and the whole night outside your window looks like solid, empty, lifeless black. But step outside and wait, and let your eyes adjust, and slowly 1,000 stars swim quietly into view. The stars were always there. The glare had simply blinded you to everything softer and quieter than itself. Your life is full of quiet stars, but the glare of the screen has washed every one of them out. The reset is nothing more than stepping out of the glare long enough for your eyes to remember the dark. And here is the cruel trap that caught the merchant and catches you, and only tightens the harder you pull. Each loud pleasure gives a little less than the last, so you need a little more just to feel the same. The second episode, the second scroll, the second helping, none of them ever quite matches that first bright hit. So the dose climbs and climbs, and the baseline of ordinary life sinks lower and grayer beneath it every year. You are not enjoying more and more. You are simply needing more and more to feel anything at all. This is the very numbness the merchant drowned in, bought one cheap and easy thrill at a time. So let me ask you the question the monk on the mountain had already answered with his whole quiet life. What if the way back to feeling was never to pile one more pleasure on top of all the rest? What if it was to take almost everything away on purpose and let the scorched palate slowly begin to heal? What if the cure for too much was not more, but a deliberate, chosen, healing dose of less? To learn how, we climb that cold mountain and step quietly inside the world the old Zen monks once built. These were not gentle dreamers escaping from life. They were among the most disciplined human beings who ever lived. One of them, centuries ago, was a monk named Ryokan, who owned a single robe and one begging bowl. He slept in a bare hut, played with the village children, and was said to be the happiest man for miles. He had subtracted his life down to almost nothing, and in that nothing, he had found almost everything. The monks understood a law the modern world has entirely forgotten, that emptiness is not the absence of pleasure. Emptiness, to them, was the very thing that let pleasure return, the silence that lets a single note ring clear. They ate plain food slowly, in complete silence, tasting each grain as though it might well be the last. They sat for long hours, facing a blank wall, doing nothing, wanting nothing, reaching for nothing at all. They swept the same stones every single morning and found in that dull repetition a depth we scroll straight past. They were not punishing themselves. They were cleaning the palate, night after night, until rice tasted like heaven again. They fasted the senses the way others fasted the stomach, and grew rich on what the rest of us discard. And this is the turn I want you to carry out of this video and into your ordinary life. You are not broken, and you are not lazy. And there is nothing at all wrong with your capacity for joy. Your palate is simply scorched, your baseline simply raised, your quiet stars simply washed out by all the glare. None of that is a life sentence. A palate can heal, and a baseline can fall faster than you would believe. The tool is the one thing the merchant never tried and the monk never stopped doing, which is simply less. So here is the practice. A single day, 24 hours, that the old monks would simply have called a fast. You are not fasting from food. You are fasting from the loud, cheap, endless stimulation that scorched you numb. For one day, you starve the fire hose and let the dial that has climbed for years finally begin to fall. It will be uncomfortable, and that discomfort is not a warning. It is the exact sensation of you healing. It begins the very moment you wake, before the world has a single chance to reach in and grab you. Do not reach for the phone. Let it stay dark, and let your first hour belong only to you. Open a window and let real morning light, and not a screen, be the first thing your eyes drink in. Move slowly through the quiet, and notice how strangely loud the silence feels after years of constant noise. Already your mind will itch and reach for its usual hits, and already you will feel the old pull. Let it itch and do not scratch, because every craving you do not feed is the dial ticking quietly down. Through the day, one by one, you set the loud pleasures down, gently and without any kind of war. No feeds, no endless video, no restless scrolling for something new to feel every few empty, aimless minutes. No sugar spikes, no jittery caffeine, only plain food and clear water, taken slowly and fully, on purpose. No noise poured into your ears to fill the gaps, and no 5 different things all done at once. You are removing the glare, one lamp at a time, so the stars finally have a chance to appear. Each thing you take away feels like a small loss, and each is quietly handing your senses back to you. And then comes the hardest hour of the entire day, the one that will tempt you to quit it altogether. It is boredom, the vast, restless emptiness you have spent years frantically making certain you would never have to feel. It rises like a tide of discomfort, and every part of you screams to reach for the nearest bright thing. But boredom is not your enemy. It is the withdrawal, the scorched palate crying out to be fed once more. Sit inside it and breathe, and let the wave rise and crest, and slowly, finally, fall away to nothing. On the far side of that boredom waits something you have not felt in a very long time, which is stillness. Into that emptiness, do not rush to pour entertainment. Pour instead the plain, slow things you had long forgotten. Take a long walk with nothing at all in your ears, and let the ordinary street become strangely vivid again. Notice the wind, the light moving on a wall, a small bird you would have walked straight past yesterday. Eat a simple meal slowly, and taste it fully, the way that mountain monk once tasted his single bowl. Do one single thing at a time and give it the whole of your undivided, unhurried, patient attention. Read real pages, sit in real silence, and watch the real sky slowly change color as the evening comes. These are your quiet stars, and one by one, in the dark you have made, they slowly begin to appear. As the day ends, resist the urge to reward yourself with the very flood you spent all day escaping. Let the evening stay dim and slow, and let your tired mind finally sink toward a real and honest rest. Somewhere in that quiet, if you have stayed with it, you feel a small and unfamiliar thing return. A plain cup of tea tastes good again. A simple thought feels interesting. The silence feels almost full. That is the dial falling at last, and your scorched palate taking its very first clean and honest breath. When the fast is over, the danger is rushing straight back to the fire hose and scorching everything all over again. So bring the world back slowly, the way you would feed someone who has not eaten for a long time. Keep the mornings quiet and screen-free, and let real light, and not a feed, still be what greets you first. Notice now how sharp and bright the simplest pleasures have suddenly become upon your slowly healing palate. The book grips you. The walk delights you. The meal tastes of 100 things it did not before. This is the monk's secret, arriving in your own ordinary life. The plain grain of rice, tasting like a feast. But one fasted day is a reset, not a cure. And the fire hose is always waiting to climb the dial again. So the monks did not fast just once. They built their whole lives around a low and steady baseline. You do not have to shave your head or climb a mountain to borrow the shape of what they knew. Guard your mornings. Take one quiet day each week and keep long stretches of your time empty of any screen. Let yourself be bored on purpose, often, and treat the loud pleasures as rare feasts, not as daily bread. Keep the dial low, and the whole gray world stays quietly, permanently, astonishingly full of color and taste. So remember the two men, the one who had everything and the one who had almost nothing at all. The difference between them was never their wealth. It was only the state of the palate each one carried. You were never broken, and you were never truly bored, and the joy did not actually leave you. Your pleasure was simply stolen, one cheap and easy thrill at a time, by things far louder than itself. The quiet is how you take it back, and the plain bowl of your life is waiting to taste full again. Step out of the glare and be still long enough, and watch every last one of your stars come home. If these words found you at the right moment, subscribe and continue the journey with us. Until we meet again.